Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Ali Moreno and Steve Nicol. Nicky Bandini will be joining us in a moment to discuss some of the big transfer rumours circulating around Italy, plus Luis Garcia with us later to talk about Gundogan and where he plays for Barcelona next season. But we'll kick off, which news is just breaking tonight in the UK, is that Manchester United have ended their pursuit of Mason Mount. Of course, this is a story we have covered over the last few days. It seems that United have made no secret that they want the England international. Going back to the timeline how this all played out. In February, Chelsea offered him a one-year contract extension. His contract ends next season. June the 14th, that's very exact. Manchester United submit opening offer of 40 million. Then it went up to 50 million. Friday went up to 55 million. And then they went, sod this, we've had enough. So Mount, it looks like, will be staying at Chelsea. Is that a mistake, Stevie? Should they have pursued him harder?
I think it looks more like a mistake on Chelsea's part to me.
Right.
You know, a guy's got a year left. You're getting 55 million. He's kind of making it known that he doesn't want to be there. And the fact that you've offered every man and his dog an 8-year deal, but you've offered him a one-year extension, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think they're going to regret it. They're going to regret it. 55 million, they should have taken Man United's hands off.
And given what Chelsea have done so far and the many deals going on with the Saudi Pro League and the fact that they have been relieved of some of those contracts, you may have thought, well, this gives us some flexibility as to the amount of money that would be enough for Mason Mount. It felt like Manchester United made every effort possible. They got the offers up and up and up and further up, and Chelsea kept saying no, no, and no. And I think Manchester United got to the position in which they did not want to be forced into a decision they didn't want to make. They didn't want to just go chase a number that Chelsea wanted, and so therefore they made the decision that they'll invest that money elsewhere. Now, it's a judgment call on Manchester United part because it's a player that you wanted, that you think could fit a role in your team, but you don't want to be a prisoner of whatever Chelsea wants you to do, because let's not forget that when you're negotiating with Chelsea, you should be the one calling the shots, not Chelsea, given the fact that they're trying to get rid of some of these contracts. And so I think I agree with Stevie. I think this is more about Chelsea missing out on a potential deal than Manchester United.
Is he a £60 million deal player, Stevie?
It was up until last year.
Well, that's tough, isn't it? Last year happened.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they've got it wrong in every possible way. They need to get rid of players. They're getting a great offer for a player that, as I said, probably doesn't want to be there now, considering what's happened. So, no, to answer your question, right now he's not a 60 million player, no.
For more Manchester United talk, let's bring in Nicky Bandini, shall we? Because it's no secret, of course, David De Gea is out of contract at United next week. A lot of names have been thrown up regarding a possible replacement. The latest one being Andre Onana from Inter. Any possibility this could happen? We were hearing figures of like 50 million euros.
Yeah, I think there's a very good chance this will happen, certainly from Inter's point of view. Onana really, right from the start of this summer, has been almost considered as the one sellable piece. They got him on a free transfer from Ajax. The club, it's no secret, needs to continue to reduce its budget. They are going to enter into a financial fair play agreement from next year where they have to be at a total of 60 million euros maximum losses over 3 seasons. Well, they lost 240 million euros 2 seasons ago. They lost more than 100 a year ago. So they're still very much having to make cuts. Now, the Champions League run has helped them, but they do need to find ways to keep bringing money in. And Onana, as I just said, when you sign someone on a free transfer and you can flip them in 1 year for 50 million euros, it's something you have to look at hard.
How highly do you rate him, Nicky?
I really do rate him highly. I think when you look at their run to the Champions League final this season, he was a huge part of it. Early part of this season, Samir Handanovic was struggling, was conceding a lot of goals. Onana's not someone who immediately jumps out at you as, oh, this is the best shot stopper I've ever seen, even though he makes some good ones. He made a huge one in the quarterfinal against Porto in the Champions League this season. But he is someone who I think really commands his area. I think the way he comes out and gets crosses, his aggression in the area is really striking. And I think as the season went on at Inter, you saw growing confidence in his distribution, in his ability to play in that sort of sweeper keeper, to use the cliche that we all use now for those sort of modern keepers who are willing to come forward and make those sort of passes out from the back. He played that role with growing confidence, and you saw it again in the Champions League final. I think he's just entering into the best part of his career, and he could be a really good signing.
And Ten Hag knows him. Obviously, he's played under Ten Hag before, Stevie. When we've talked about David De Gea, possible replacements, she was like, well, why spend money on a goalkeeper when you need to prioritise elsewhere? This, however, seems to make a lot of sense, doesn't it, for everyone?
Yes. However, I would suggest that Onana's got a mistake in him, like a certain guy that he's going to replace.
But he's much better with his feet than the
No
certain
question,
guy.
absolutely no question.
So it's an upgrade.
With his feet, but he's still got a mistake in him.
So does David De Gea.
So you're getting rid of one guy who's got a mistake in him for another guy who's got a mistake in him.
But plays the sort of football that you want. I don't know why you have to poo-poo this. Why does it have to be negative?
It's just...
Because it's Manchester United.
It's 50 million. It's 50 million for a guy who's better with his feet, but who has a mistake in him. It's not a ringing endorsement, is it? A guy who's got a mistake in him.
Well, you're the one. This is your take on it.
I'm just making. It's a fact. It's a fact. He's got a mistake in him. So, listen, is he a good goalkeeper? Yes. But
is he better than De Gea? Yes.
He's better than De Gea with his feet. I don't think he makes more saves than De Gea. I don't think he makes better saves than De Gea. But I won't argue with his feet he's better. So, for 50 million, really?
Nicky,
why don't you keep De Gea, who's willing to take a pay cut?
Go on, Nicky.
Come on. 50 million euros it's pocket change to Premier League clubs now, isn't it? And I mean, yeah, okay, every goalkeeper's got a mistake in them, but in the Champions League, when it mattered this season, was it 5 out of 6 games in that knockout run leading up to the final, he kept a clean sheet. I think he's absolutely shown that in big games, in big moments. I mentioned that Porto save. He delivers more often than not. And I think, yes, there's always someone you can point to who's better. They're not necessarily arguing that he's the number one goalkeeper in the world, but the number one goalkeeper in the world nowadays is going to cost you 100 million euros. So I think 50 million is a really good price for him, actually. And I think that any team, frankly, should want to have him. I think his attitude, the way he carries himself, I think even when you looked at the end of the Champions League final, who was the one grabbing Lautaro, giving him a shake and picking him up, it was Onana. I think he's someone who's ready to be at a club that wants to win things.
Meanwhile, the other end of the pitch for United, we know they desperately need a striker. Kane, Osimhen now seem out of reach. So they've turned to, it sounds like, Rasmus Højlund from Atalanta. What do we know about him, Nicky? How good is he?
Oh, he's brilliant. He's really fun to watch. Exciting teenager. He's incredibly fast. One of those sort of explosive speed, sort of classic number 9 in that he likes to play on the shoulder of the defender. He is very much a sort of late runs into the penalty area looking for those opportunities to get one touch and put it in the net. He got these comparisons to Erling Haaland, which of course is a poison chalice for absolutely anybody. I mean, no one is Erling Haaland, right? That guy's a robot. But he is really sort of in the same mould of what you sort of position him as a striker in terms of what he's trying to contribute to your team. He's contributing those runs in the box. He's contributing that ability to be physical and bully a defender. And yes, again, explosive pace, good finishing on his left boot. I think he's got lots of room for growth given his age, and he's a really exciting young prospect. 70 million, Nicky? I struggle with the numbers, honestly, guys, because the numbers, you might as well pull them out of thin air at this point, right? Like, it doesn't matter to me what a club wants to spend on a player. It's what the club can afford to spend on the player. And Premier League clubs have more and more money. I mean, the team that finished last in the Premier League, I believe, got more this season in prize money than the team that finished first in Serie A. So the numbers are what they are. If the club says they can afford it, they can afford it. Are you buying an exciting young talent? Yes, you are. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.